Growing up is realizing that Death Battle was correct in their rendition of Goku vs Superman. Like, let's get this straight. It's impossible for Goku to beat Superman if you're basing their strength off of max feats. Like, Superman in one rendition of the comics has traveled a galaxy, trillions of miles in negative seconds. And that's only in one rendition. And that's the issue when pitting anime characters against comic book characters, because they have so many different writers, so many different stories that you don't know what you're getting. The strength of a comic book solely relies on its author and their needs. Like, you might read one run of Superman that depicts a Man of Steel as just above average strength, then you might read another one when Supes is literally God. In fact, I'm just gonna say it, there are a lot of comic book characters who, if we're basing their strength off of max feats, are defeating Goku in a fight. In fact, not just defeating him, washing him in a fight, especially for Marvel. I swear, when comic book writers at Marvel are bored, they just give whatever character they're working on reality warping powers and precognition and call it a day. Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, Thor, Scarlet Witch, and Loki all have or once had the ability to warp reality, and I'm only naming a few. One day on Twitter, I saw this tweet saying, who would win, the entirety of Marvel Comics or Goku, Saitama, Luffy, Naruto, and Sasuke? Oh, and Vegeta as well. I'm not forgetting about Vegeta.
What's wrong, monkey?
Which is fucking ridiculous, but I'm not even gonna address this because this video isn't about power scaling. It isn't about power scaling. It isn't about... Franklin Richards clears, the Marquis of Death clears, the Beyonder clears, the one above all clears, the one below all clears, the Living Tribunal clears, Eternity clears, Protege clears, fuck, even Darwin clears. Like, come on, what the but who cares? Who cares? This video isn't about power scaling. It's an apology to Death Battle and School Attack because I feel like the outrage me and millions of other nerds had to this fight, specifically the Goku vs Superman series, was never about power scaling. I think I really began watching anime in 2018, but I got into anime in 2016, during the beginning of Super and end of Shippuden, when Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 came out along with Dokkan Battle. Yup, Dragon Ball and Naruto got me into anime, isn't that shocking? Well, actually, not really. The biggest reason why I started watching anime at all was due to my FOMO. I would be in PlayStation parties, my friends would talk about things I never heard of before, using words I never even knew existed. Words like Hokage, Kaioken, and Tsukiyomi. Like, what the hell is an infinite Tsukiyomi and what is Talk no Jutsu? I didn't get it, but I also didn't want to miss out, so I looked into it. I bought a copy of Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, downloaded Dokkan, and watched dozens and dozens and dozens of videos about anime, Double 4, Swag Kage, Team 4-Star, and more, but the deeper I dug, the more I realized that Dragon Ball and Naruto barely scratched the surface of what anime could be and what anime was. I realized that within anime there is room for mature concepts, actual stakes, and character imperfections, that the bad guys actually won sometimes. That's really all I wanted as a kid, for the bad guys to actually win sometimes, for the product I was reading or watching to not speak down to me. And because of that, my view of anime became defined by shows like Full Metal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter, Tokyo Ghoul, and Sword Art Online. Yes, I know that last one is controversial, but to be honest, the premise of SAO plays a huge part of even why I got into anime in the first place. Before SAO, my idea of anime was just ninjas or super powerful aliens fighting against each other. So when my friend explained to me that it was set in a VR MMORPG where if you die in the game, you die in real life, it blew my mind. Video games, anime, swords, and actual stakes? Nah, this is peak culture. This is peak Japan. Takashi Murakami who? The Great Wave off Kanagawa what? I want Kawahara. But yeah, those darker shonen represented my idea of anime, what I saw and heard when the word was uttered. But the longer I spent watching anime, the more I slowly began to realize something. That it didn't matter how far I went, how deep I dug, how long I searched, there was just no escaping the grasp of Dragon Ball. It was everywhere. References, inspirations, ideas, plot devices that were either from or led up to Dragon Ball existed in what felt like almost every show I watched. And even still, when all else failed, when a show appeared to have no apparent ties to Goku's anime at all, there still lied the inevitable, the question, the discussion, the idea that has plagued all of anime since 1984, the one that will persist to the fall of the very culture itself.
Yeah, but can he beat Goku? Can he beat Goku? Can he beat Goku? Can he beat—
I swear, I saw this question everywhere, even before the memes, before it was ironic. Like, as a kid, no anime was safe, not even romance anime for some reason. You could literally be watching Bunny Girl Senpai and oh, she's cute, but can she beat Goku though? And the answer, unfortunately, most of the time was no. No, Mai cannot beat Goku. I mean, maybe if he was a teenager. Man, imagine if Goku had puberty just... So although Dragon Ball and Goku never truly represented what anime is to me specifically, when I think of outside of me, when I think of the general consensus of the face of an anime, especially for a death battle, I see Goku. I see Goku because for me and a lot of people, Goku is the origin. And by that, I don't mean he's the first to do it like Astro Boy, or he's what everything originates from like Sun Wukong, but origin in the sense of a coordinate point. Basically saying that Goku in Dragon Ball is me and a lot of people's points of relativity. He's how we judge anime and everything within it. We subconsciously compare it to him in Dragon Ball. Characters, plot lines, animation. When you're ranking and reviewing these things, think deeper about what you're subconsciously comparing them to. If you're like me, a lot of the time it's Dragon Ball, meaning that Dragon Ball isn't only millions of people's gateway to this culture, but also the lens we see it through. That's why Goku in that death battle to me as a kid wasn't just Goku or just Dragon Ball. No, he represented the entirety of anime, the concept, the culture itself that I grew to oh my god. The culture itself that I grew to adore. Goku is anime, and Goku being your favorite character is anime. So when Goku lost, man, it's hard being sincere over something this stupid. But when Goku lost twice, it didn't just feel like Death Battle was disrespecting him in Dragon Ball, but instead the entirety of anime itself and everything about it I held dear, like the mature concepts and stuff. It's stupid now, but as a kid, these two fights felt like they were relentlessly stomping on one of my favorite things in the world for no reason. But to be honest, Goku losing is only 25% of the reason why I felt like that. 75% of the reason was who he lost to. I swear, if it was anybody else, if it was Batman, Deadpool, even Spider-Man who Goku lost to, most people wouldn't care, or at least they wouldn't be so up in arms about it. I mean, maybe the power scale, but they get mad over everything. But Superman? To me as a kid, Superman represented everything that was wrong with comic books. The perfect persona, the Boy Scout hero, the lack of moral greatness, the complete lack of stakes. The complete lack of stakes. That's how you know I wasn't really thinking about Goku when I watched this fight. Anyway, Superman represented an era of my childhood that I had to be done with. In fact, Superman represented the entire reason why me and my friends sought refuge in anime in the first place, because we were tired of being spoken down to. That's what it feels like to watch and read Superman. It feels like you're being spoken down to. Why do you think Superman is no kid's favorite character anymore? It's because he's lame. He's like John Cena in the PG era. It's funny because Superman and the abstract ideals he represents have this very intense relationship with maturity. I mean, as a baby, you love Superman because it's Superman. I mean, what else is there to say? He flies in the air, shoots lasers from his eyes, and defeats the bad guy. He's cool. Then you grow up a bit, and in your preteens and most of your teens, he's annoying. A goody two-shoes who is super preachy and completely unrelatable. He has no complexities to him, no flaws, and some weird-ass weaknesses. You can't see yourself as him. You can't be him. He's Superman. But then as an adult, or for me, my 19th year, you value Superman, especially in this cynical world, because you realize he's not meant to be relatable and complex, but instead inspiring and simple. That when an author writes his stories, they're not trying to make you feel that you can actually be him, but that you should at least try to. You should try to edge closer to the kindness and hope he represents, because that's the only thing that can make you Superman. Can you tell I watch a lot of implicitly pretentious before this? So right after I wrote this vid, I went and watched the death battles again because I hadn't rewatched them before making this. And right at the end of the second video, they said the exact same thing I just said, except 7 years prior, which is how you know I was pissed off about this as a kid, because I took 7 years learning this for myself than just taking 8 minutes of listening to their reasoning. But yeah, Goku vs Superman was a fight that a lot of people were angry about, not really due to the fight itself, but what the fight truly represented to them. And because of that, people started defaming Screw Attack's brand, saying that they hated anime and stuff like that, and that they don't value Japanese culture, which I don't believe is true. They were fair and justified because Superman does beat Goku in a fight, or whatever. Who cares? Grow up. That Ben 10 fight, however, I cannot defend.